Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zak's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by S&U PLC. In fact, probably most of you are familiar with Anthony Coombs, but he will take you through the team who are going to be on this interview.
Thank you, Zak. Yeah, great. And we're big fans of your cafe, although we don't drink in it, but we're big fans. Just on my left here is Carl Werner, who is the new Chief Executive of Advantage Finance, our motor finance subsidiary. To his left is my brother, Graham Coombs, who's the Deputy Chairman of S&U. To my right, I've got Ed Ahrens, who is the Chief Executive of Aspen Finance, which is our bridging finance, which we started about 7 years ago. And then to his right is Chris Redford, who's our Group Finance Director. So there we all are, and we're looking forward to speaking to you.
Right, well, it's quite a Politburo that you've got there. Maybe just to start off, you could remind listeners what S&U does, because there seem to be quite a lot of moving parts as well as moving people.
Yeah, good point. Well, S&U has been in business actually since 1938, but we're now in the motor finance business. That's since 1999, when we started the business from scratch. That has grown to be the most successful and largest part of the business. It took the place, really, of the home credit business, which we sold in 2015. And then in 2017, we decided to start a property bridging business, which is Aspen, which has been very successful ever since. So we live in interesting times, but we're making progress every year. Although this year there's been a slight hiatus due to a number of matters which we can discuss with you a little later on. But that basically is the makeup of the business.
Right, I'd like to start with Aspen, because that seems to be the jewel in the crown at the moment. Just if only on the basis of the revenue increase, maybe we can run through that.
Yeah, well, I mean, this year we've made steady growth through the year. It was particularly in the second half building momentum. So we got to the end of the year where we wanted to. We've also been successful in our overall repayments, which is obviously the other side of the coin in terms of lending and then getting it back. It basically means that our borrowers are able to refinance and also sell their properties. So we feel like we're poised for continued steady growth after the results of this last year. And the market, from our perspective, we're seeing that there's likely to be more growth in the bridging market this coming year. We will be seeking good quality borrowers out throughout.
Very pleased with Aspen. I mean, I think they're doing very well in a market that has been slightly sludgy in the residential property market in the UK over the last year, but which is gradually picking up.
And in terms of Advantage Motor Finance, that's probably the area which is where one would want to kick the tires a bit.
Yes, I mean, over to you, Carl. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it that there's more regulatory activity in the motor finance market. Most of the businesses in the motor finance business belonging to the Finance and Leasing Association, which is the industry trades body, have had some regulatory activity this year. And the FCA is obviously trying to protect hard-working families from cost of living pressures. We understand that. We've always dealt with our customers in a civilized way. But Carl will tell you more as to exactly what form the regulatory activity has taken.
Yeah, and it has an impact. I mean, I want to say whilst we embrace that engagement and going through it as many, close to dozens of lenders are, you do so in a way to come out fitter and faster the other end. We're progressing through it well. I think the regulators' hope is that their engagements in this space are hoping to conclude by the end of the calendar year. We would hope to be a bit sooner than that, but we'll have to see. We're in their hands. And whilst it's for the greater good, it does come at a cost. Whilst we would look to impacts on impairments, the regulatory focus and engagement and the abundance of caution during that from the H2 onwards is definitely a major factor, as is a requirement to amend credit appetite in this particular market sector, as hopefully for the last time in the months ahead, the challenging macros of the cost of living crisis still continue to bite. So I think all of those things play their part. Our numbers show that the number of defaulting customers or number of BTing customers is where we expected it to be. So it may turn out to be a longer tail of collection rather than a non-collection. But we're refining and investing in our business whilst engaged with the regulator and some minor restrictions included within that. To come out the other side.
Isn't it the case, though, that with these things, the regulator sort of steps in to help the consumer, but all that tends to happen is it increases costs for people like you carrying out business, and those costs are passed on to the consumer, which means actually in the end the consumer is actually under more risk and more threat than they were before.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that viewpoint as to, in the final analysis, what does it all add up to as far as the difference for Mr. Smith and Mrs. Jones on the high street. However, I would say that the smart move, which is what a tactic we're deploying, is to utilise that engagement to be smarter and fitter to get some return for that cost for the longer term.
But if you believe, Zach, I think the point is, if you believe, as we do, that in the main, a market which is as free as possible will produce the best returns for the consumer, as well as delivering profits for the producers, then, any regulation which inevitably is an intervention and restricts that market has got to be proportionate and balanced. And that's what we are discussing with the regulator at the present time. Why? Because the regulation that it is bringing in is new. I mean, the consumer duty is something that was brought in July 31st last year, and it does overlay quite a lot of the existing legislation and existing regulatory initiatives. And the industry as a whole is getting used to that and will hopefully, as a result of a proportionate and sensible discussions with the FCA, emerge stronger. In the meantime, though, Zach, there has been a short-term cost for the consumer because it's been estimated by not us, but people like ClearScore and Ernst & Young in a recent report, that no less than £2 billion has been withdrawn from available capital for this particular customer segment, not just in the motor industry, but more widely. And obviously that is one of the penalties of interfering in the market in however well-intentioned a way.
So putting it all together, you've got the cost of living crisis, you've got issues with the housing market, and obviously that affects your business as well. And let's say the red tape, being polite. Does that mean that overall you're actually quite pleased that over the last year, actually, that you've actually been quite robust in terms of facing these challenges?
Well, I would certainly say that. Obviously, we would like the profits to have been higher than they have been, but don't forget, quite a lot of the profit reduction is as a result of our prudential and sensible and conservative view of provisions for how the business will develop in the future. It may be better than that, as it was during the pandemic. So yes, I think we have been robust, but obviously there are ways that we can improve our performance, and we're working on those at the moment.
And if there is any sort of driver for the future, what do you think that would be?
My overview is that the main driver is going to be in the healthiness of the markets that we serve. There's no doubt about it, as I said earlier on, that there is a lot of demand, both in the motor finance business and in the property business at the moment, and that's been evidenced for the first few months of this year, and has given us the opportunity to improve our credit profile by attracting higher quality customers in both businesses. So that is the main driver. No business exists unless it can attract customers at the right margins, and that's something that is looking very positive as far as our business.
Well, on that very positive note, Anthony Coombs and your esteemed colleagues at S&U, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Zak.
Thank you.
Thank you.